Good evening. We're Steve Baroden and Robin Miller, and we'd like to offer you an opportunity to jump on the Polar Pipeline. Let me ask you this. How many times have you spent hours a day shoveling snow just to come in tired and exhausted? How many times have you had to wake up hours before the sun just to make sure your driveway was clear before you went to work? Have you been fined before because you didn't shovel that snow in a timely manner? What about the elderly, the disabled? How painful is it for them to go out in the middle of a snowstorm and shovel their walkway? Well, there is now a solution to all these painful problems, and that solution is the Polar Pipeline. The Polar Pipeline is a console that sits at the top of your driveway, out of the way and for the most part out of sight until you need it. Whenever it does eventually snow, the Polar Pipeline will deploy and do its thing. It will suddenly unwind a main supply tube, which will roll out onto the base of the driveway, and then there will be a heater element inside of the console that starts to go with a blower assembly that starts to blow hot air through the supply tube. As soon as that hot air reaches to a certain pressure in the supply tube, it will extend the remaining tributary tubes that branch off of the main line. From this main manifold, they'll begin to unwind and roll down the base of your driveway as well as your sidewalks, which has been previously mapped by a Polar Pipeline agent. Customers can order a pipeline that's as generic or specific as necessary, all depending on the layout of their pavement. Once the hot air fills up all the tubes, it'll escape through tiny perforations in the sides of the tubes up and down the pavement until it's melted all the snow directly outside of the tube. While the system is on, the air pressure generated by the console will keep the tubes in place until all the snow is melted. Once the system does power down, air pressure will drop and the tubes will deflate via the outtakes on the ends of the tubes. At this point, the pipeline will deflate and flatten the tubes to a point where they can begin to coil back upon each other. Due to the tensile material that the pipeline is actually built out of, it naturally responds so that it coils into its initial state so it can be wound back up into the general console. Now, you might be wondering how many people would actually buy this product. Well, let me tell you this. A couple of statistics. In January alone of 2016, the contiguous U.S. snow cover extent was approximately 1.65 million square miles. That's a lot of snow. In January 22nd to 24th of this year alone, there was a massive storm that impacted more than 100 million people. Several cities in the Northeast, including Baltimore and New York, had all-time snowfall records. Not to mention, Rochester, Buffalo, Cleveland, Denver, and Detroit combined for about 360 inches of snowfall alone last year. That's approximately 2.2 million people in those metros alone, and that's not even including the suburbs surrounding them. Now let's ask ourselves what competitors are actually out there. Snow shovels, snow blowers, maybe an occasional plow attached to an ATV. These guys? That's no competition, especially with all the technological advances in today's society. They can only go so far. We're going to take our product and we're going to take advantage of solar and Bluetooth and wireless technology, improvements in materials science, as well as all the weather apps that we use on our phone every day. What if your AccuWeather app was directly correlated to your Polar Pipeline? If it mentioned that it was actively snowing at the time, just using wireless technology, the Polar Pipeline could get the snow out of the way before you even get out of bed. Our units are going to use solar efficiently, and eventually we're going to incorporate a saline solution into the tubes that will also salt your sidewalks. The sky really is the limit with this product, and I guarantee you it will sell at $499 a unit with approximately a 40% margin. So on behalf of me, Steve Baroden, and my CFO, Robin Miller, I'd like to ask you for your contribution of $250,000 to put towards inventory and R&D. I guarantee you, if you don't jump in now, you'll be asking yourself why you got cold feet.